And just like the past 3 days, 2 game studios got cancelled. Tripwire Interactive, who garnered quite a cult following from the chivalry, medieval combat, and killing floor series, and the shark RPG Maneater. So Tripwire is effectively getting cancelled because the president of the company, John Gibson, tweeting out support for Texas putting in place anti-abortion laws, and the Twitter Supreme Court cancelled him on the spot. The original tweet that started all this reads, "Proud of US Supreme Court affirming the Texas law banning abortion for babies with a heartbeat." As an entertainer, I don't get political often, yet with so many vocal peers on the other side of this issue, I felt it was important to go on the record as a pro-life game developer. And this started a riot. Lots of game journalists and game reviewers, content creators, all boycotting any game that Tripwire has made. Shipwright Studio, the indie freelance studio that's helped Tripwire develop Maneater and Chivalry 2, cut ties with Tripwire basically on the spot, replying with a tweet saying, "While your politics are your own, the moment you make them a matter of public discourse, you entangle all of those working for and with you. We have worked closely alongside the talented and passionate developers at Tripwire and your partners for the last 3+ years. We know it's difficult for employees to speak up or act out in these scenarios, and they may not feel comfortable to speak their minds. It is regrettable, but we feel it would be doing ourselves, your employees, your partners, and the industry as a whole a disservice to allow this pattern to continue without comment. We cannot in good conscience continue to work with Tripwire under the current leadership structure. We will begin the cancellation of our existing contracts effective immediately." Goddamn. Man, you hate to see public breakups like this on the internet. But I agree with Shipwright that this pro-life statement, made at a time when this law was actually passed in Texas and the US Supreme Court did not intervene, seems a little bit like bad timing. Regardless of your personal beliefs, may it be religious, that's why they put a bunch of Christian rock in Killing Floor. Yeah, people actually pointed out how the Christian rock used in Killing Floor also has anti-abortion sentiments. Ayo, hold up, it's his own Christian rock band. Here's John rocking out on lead guitar, wearing an "abortion is something" shirt. The band just called Dirge has 1 song, and that was put in Killing Floor, with Christian rock lyrics like "rip children from the womb before they even had a chance to see they're alive, look into their unborn eyes." Oh my god. Ayo, and is their logo the same font used for the Tripwire logo? He just used the same font for his Christian rock band. Having religious beliefs or being a Christian is not the problem people see here. He was commenting on a law that already passed, not using his own money that he made from people buying his games to lobby for these laws. You know, like a whole Popeye situation. At first, and even now, I still gotta say, it's still kind of crazy how much of an echo chamber the game industry is. And we are already aware of just how far leaning it is. But yo, this is a crazy law. Apparently, anyone in the state of Texas can whistleblow anyone involved in helping someone get an abortion. Even an Uber driver driving a woman to the operation. They will all get sued. What is this? Report your local communist during a Cold War? There have been many protests about this. People are devastated that this law even passed. After years and years of fighting for these women's rights, for this law to pass and potentially put people's lives in danger, and also this whole whistleblowing culture, yeah, of course people are devastated. And in the height of all that, to have such a tone-deaf tweet like this, was he trying to end his career? I totally agree with Shipwright, but I'm also sad that this is the way that it has to be. Where they're right, that the opinion of the president affects the entire company. And although I disagree with this pro-life statement, yes, I am going on record saying I'm pro-choice. Wow. It was an absolute bloodbath from here on out. Multiple people took the moral high ground saying it should be a woman's choice. And this debate is not the point of this video. A lot of the arguments and examples pointed out that are pretty graphic, so I'm not going to go into detail, are with health complications as to why a woman would choose to do this later in the pregnancy. Examples where the baby would die or the woman would die, and people would have to drive out of the state of Texas in order to have this kind of surgery done. That is mostly what people are saying on Twitter. I am not a doctor. That is not the point of this video. But on the other side, people were saying, okay, if someone is pro-choice, obviously people wouldn't have this reaction. And it's like, yeah, you're right. The whole argument is for the safety of the woman carrying the baby. But there's multiple examples where a woman's life is saved because of health complications, where she would have no choice but to go through an operation like this. Then it doesn't take a big moral high ground to say that, yeah, we should give them the choice. And the other side is mostly coming from religious beliefs or moral ideologies, which everyone is entitled to. But guys in support of laws to control what women can do with their body is the main thing that sounds very wrong here. But like I said, this is probably the worst case of canceling, where it's just one guy that brings down the entire ship. So yeah, a bit of a mess of a situation. Definitely more of a gray line in terms of canceling an entire studio. And there it is. While recording this, Tripwire just put out a statement saying that John Gibson is stepping down and that his comments disregarded the values of our whole team, our partners, and much of our broader community. Our leadership team at Tripwire are deeply sorry and unified in our commitment to take swift action and to foster a more positive environment. Effective immediately, John Gibson has stepped down as CEO of Tripwire Interactive. Co-founding member and current vice president Alan Wilson will take over as interim CEO. Alan's been with the company since 2005, yada yada. Are we not surprised? Are we not surprised that this happened? 2 days. It took 2 days for them to put out an official statement saying that he stepped down. I've been doing dodumps on and off for like 2 years now. How is this such a common story? Like, this pattern is seen so often. Next, he's either gonna say that he was gonna quit anyways, he's gonna start his own weird ass project, or end up on some hyper conservative podcast only hosted on DLive. This whole story is kind of wild because I get it's a belief firmed in religion, but I don't know, it's like being a hyper Christian today that's morally against LGBT. Like, what are you gonna do? Actively support taking their rights away? Or just live your life and let be? Holding your own moral beliefs to yourself, being aware that it could harm others in this environment. But hey, more of that, you're saying it, you're gonna harm yourself because look at your career. I don't know, man. I gotta admit, even though I'm against what he believes in, it's kind of shitty how big of an echo chamber gaming is and how quickly someone has to be canceled or removed from their position. The next studio on the chopping block, another interactive, Paradox Interactive, where this one is more of a widespread corporate cultural issue. Paradox, who's been recently known for the Crusader King series, recently had the results of a union-conducted survey within the companies published, with the results saying that nearly 70% of the female employees experienced gender mistreatment, and a third of the male employees also said that they experienced mistreatment. The union accused Paradox of, quote, cultivating a culture of silence, where employees coming forward with harassment that they faced, or that not proper actions were taken when they would come to HR with these problems. Sounds really familiar, huh, to Ubisoft and Blizzard Activision? Surprisingly, not a lot of people are talking about this. No Twitter moral Supreme Court counsel here. Paradox stating how they'll get to all these issues and saying how they're in a transitionary period since their CEO stepped down for differing views just 5 days ago. Former CEO of Paradox Interactive, it's a Swedish company. They said they were stepping down because of different views of how the company was going to prioritize existing IPs over more risky new IPs, primarily Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, which already got Metroid Prime forward and reset its entire development. And now the CEO leaves because they're prioritizing on old IPs like Crusader Kings and City Skyline. Don't you love cancel culture and capitalism? Well, the only way to fix things, just have the CEO step down. It worked for Amazon, except Blizzard Activision and Ubisoft kind of went through scot-free, and media coverage wasn't so hard on boycotting. Yeah, everyone's talking about Far Cry 6 and Call of Duty Vanguard. That's what seems like the double standard here. I guess the difference here, those companies are just so big that they could handle lawsuits before actually changing the culture. There aren't any specific stories of this gender mistreatment that has come out of the studio, like with Ubisoft and Blizzard Activision, how there were tons of crazy, horrific stories and how everyone played a part in cultivating that environment. If the Twitter Supreme Court is actually going to take to canceling or boycotting an entire publishing studio, stuff like this makes more sense, where the whole studio is at fault and the entirety of the internal structure seemingly has to flip over on its head to the point that the CEO has to leave in order to rectify the stuff going on over there. But I digress. That is why Paradox and Tripwire Interactive were both effectively canceled. And they both have the CEO just stepped down alibi. We'll see how things go forward from here. I just thought I wanted to talk about this because it's interesting to see how these scenarios are handled and the varying spectrum of being canceled. Moving on, Sega had a pretty garbage last week. Sega will most likely lose the creator of the Yakuza and Monkey Ball series to Chinese mobile game company NetEase, and they're at risk of losing even more talents to China's effect on the game industry, but we'll get to that. And Sonic Colors Ultimate is broken. So Sonic Colors Ultimate HD 60 FPS port of Sonic Colors released a few days ago, and the Nintendo Switch version specifically seems to be broken. There are clips of Sonic and what looks like, well, colors. Some of these clips are unreal. Only Sonic, what What is it about Sonic? Like, it's so cursed, they can't just have a good release without something going wrong. I've never seen a game crap out this hard on release though. This looks like a cryptic tease for the next Sonic game. Where's all the Sonic analyzers to see if this hints for a HD Sonic adventure? Blind Squirrel Games, the studio behind this port, released a statement saying, "We appreciate all the feedback we've received about Sonic Colors Ultimate so far. We're listening and preparing a patch for release as soon as possible." There ain't no way they were already aware. What feedback? Did someone playtest the Switch version? What feedback? You gotta have been aware of this. I believe there's other glitches too, like save data corruptions, just all around not a good time. And why does it have to be Sonic? I feel bad for the guy at this point. This series has to be cursed. Another pretty big L for Sega is last week. Toshihiro Nagoshi, creator of the Yakuza and Monkey Ball series, most likely will leave Sega for NetEase. NetEase is a similar company to Tencent, being that it's a Chinese-based company that tries to get as many IPs as possible to turn into successful mobile games, as well as buying minority stakes in many different Japanese game studios to get a seat on their board of directors. Large Chinese game studios continue to play the capitalist game of just buying everything, especially in the Japanese video game and anime department, which are very popular to a global audience, and even buying into seats of Western comics. Marvel superheroes also very popular globally and in China. So not only are they in danger of losing Toshihiro, but also other talents at Sega. Well, honestly, so are many other Japanese studios. I would love to go into more detail about China's effect on global game industry or nerd culture in general, but I don't want this video to go on too long. There is a silver lining though. As of today, Ryuta Uda is back at Sega, who did the art direction for Jet Set Radio and directed the first two Yakuza games. But that'll be it for this one. That is all I have time for today. Liking the video seriously helps me a lot. Y'all just got dumped on. Bye bye.